did a lot of religious soul searching.
Yep, pretty much.
It was very, very meaningful, very powerful.
We also learned secret pathways. Or a secret pathway.
There's a little bumbling around, but we did find a bunch of, like instant teleporty shenaniganery places. Which will be good for whenever we end up having to chase someone down in a chase sequence.
So you all had wrapped up what you were doing in the market, had went ahead and headed to the temple district to see what answers could be found there for Booker and see about this druid fella that Booker's vision had pointed Lily towards.
Mm-hmm.
And in amongst that, Finn found a unique temple ? And found a calling towards a god there. Lily did find their druid who took them off secret into an underground cavern where a massive oak tree was, and was able to commune with the Leaf Lord, who told her a few things, and then she chose to spend some time with the druid there, learning what she could from him for the time being. In general, the Leaf Lord kind of confirming some things that Booker's vision had told him. Still not sure about everything that was going on. And then Booker managed to get to the College of Celestian and found out a little bit more about the situation, or at least a story that might apply to the situation and to the Astral Elves from a practically ancient elf that was there. And as everybody was leaving College of Celestian, Trixie noticed a temple just off to the side from the college that had a full moon on the door, and wanted to make a quick pit stop there before they left the temple district completely. So, are you conscious enough, Iris?
Yeah.
So, Trixie asks to make a quick pit stop, and you see her immediately kind of turn off to the side path. And the building off to the side looks kind of simple. It's very clearly round in shape and domed over the top. Made out of pretty plain comparatively to some of the other temples in the area. Pretty plain materials. The most outstanding thing on the outside is on the large, heavy, dark wood door is an engraved full moon symbol that's inlaid with silver or some other type of shiny, kind of reflective, pale metal. And as Trixie heads off in that direction, is anybody following her, or are you guys just chilling outside?
Button will follow Trixie. Assume that is the default.
I believe that Trixie had said something like, "Hey, do you mind if we check this out?" to Booker, and he agreed. So he would also follow, very casually, just like hands in pockets.
Okay. So, as you reach the door, Trixie, you just kind of push it open without any issues, and at first there's a very distinct shift from outside to inside, though the Rock of Brawl is not a place that anybody would by any means call bright. There is a distinct kind of suffusion of light around you that makes it very easy to see and know where you're going. However, the inside, immediately beyond the door, is almost pitch black. But as you kind of like take a half step in and kind of squint, you can see that it's essentially a long hallway, longer than you would have thought from the building outside. And you can see a bright archway at the other end.
I'll start heading in. Can I see anything else around in this hallway? Or is it just the arch?
It seems to be just the arch from what you can tell. But as you head in, let me see here. You eventually come out at the top of a fairly large stairwell that leads down into a courtyard. And it is a massive circular courtyard that, as you look up, even though you know you saw the dome of this building above you, it looks like there is no ceiling. And as you look down from the top of the stairs, you can see in the center of this courtyard is what at first glance might just be a pool or fountain of water, kind of reflecting the stars in the wild space above. But as you kind of look at it a second longer, you can see that there's a moon reflected in the water that is not there when you look up to the sky. And the moon itself seems to be almost clouded over and dark in spots, like it is being seen through a kind of clear, partially cloudy type of night. And there are doors that lead to other hallways branching off of this circle. And only 3 people that you can see in the courtyard. One stands at the very base of the stairs, looks very much in the way that he is holding himself in the kind of gray silver armor that he has on to be some sort of guard. And you see 2 others in robes closer to the fountain talking to each other. And as you step out at the top of these stairs, the only one that immediately takes notice of you is the person at the bottom of the stairs, who looks up and immediately looks over Button and then Booker behind. Doesn't say anything, but also does not look away.
Trixie just smiles at the guard and slowly makes her way down. Just kind of taking in the room and really fixated on this pool in the middle. Really pretty.
And as you head down and get a little closer, you can see that the guard seems to be a fairly tall, dark-haired elven man. Again, with kind of silver armor on and dark clothes underneath. The fairly large, long sword hanging at his hip. And he just kind of watches you. There's not any anger or any, like, outright hostility on his face. It's very much that kind of standard, like, I am meant to be standing here and be imposing. And so I'm going to stand here and be imposing. But not against you, just that is what he is meant to be doing. And as you get down to the bottom of the stairs, the 2 others that are closer to the fountain, one of them kind of lifts a hand as she spots you, and the kind of quiet conversation back and forth goes quiet, and both of them look in your direction. And one seems to be a silver tiefling of some sort with dark horns. And the other stands a good foot and a half taller than her. You're not quite sure who or what she is. She is extremely pale with white hair and horns of some sort on her head, but she does not look like any tiefling you have ever seen.
I guess I'll go to the guard because I don't know who's in charge here. But yeah, I'll go to the guard and ask. Is there someone I? So, is there someone I could speak to about maybe paying tithe and somewhere to pray?
And let me see here. The guard. There you go. Just kind of looks you over, and you see his head tilt ever so slightly. Well, there's not any high priest or priestess here, if that's what you're looking for. And he kind of looks past you towards the other two, and you can see him look a little thoughtful for a moment as he's staring at these other two, and then just kind of nods towards them. Zalista might be able to help you a little more. And you see this, like, looking you over again, and then this questioning glance back towards Booker and Button, a couple steps behind you.
Great, thanks. She doesn't really kind of comment on him looking at the other two, because like it's a temple. I assume we're welcome here. So.
And as you kind of step away from him, the tiefling immediately kind of starts walking forward with a little bit more of a purpose to meet you. And I'll show you how. You can see as she gets closer, she actually has markings. You're not sure if it's makeup or paint or tattoos of the moon phases going across her forehead. And she kind of looks you up and down, and then just kind of motions towards the fountain. And I'm assuming you are here to pay respects?
Yeah.
To anyone in particular?
Not anyone in particular, just any of the lunar gods that are listening.
She nods slightly. I'm certain that they would all be keen to hear, though I will give you warning, this is the Temple of Saloon.
Okay. Turn you up a bit. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
She said it was the Temple of Saloon is the primary focus of this.
Well, then I guess I should pay my respects to Sloan then.
And roll me, because it is a lunar goddess, roll me religion at advantage. Okay. So, Saloon is one of the primary lunar deities that you know from Toril. Your siblings have talked to you about other lunar deities they've come across in their spelljamming careers. But this is one that you don't even have to leave the planet to know about. She is quite often known as a tripart goddess. One of those that has kind of three figures of a young maiden, a mother figure, and a old woman. It is known particularly to be not only a lunar goddess, but a goddess of love, of motherhood, and of transformation, making her in particular of interest to shapeshifters and lycanthropes and other were beings.
Sorry, I was chewing. So Saloon. Yeah, I know quite a bit about her. She's one of the main deities. Back on Toril. Is there? Oh, sorry. Go on.
There's just this little smile on Zalista's face as you mentioned Toril. Oh. Somebody from the home planet, then.
Oh, you're from Toril then too.
I am, yes. And it is often considered the home of the goddess, so you are particularly favored.
She kind of just takes one of her hands and rubs it behind her head. I doubt that, but it's good to pay our respects, you know?
And she just kind of dips her head slightly. Are you stuck or are you thinking?
I'm stuck. I am sorry.
Zalista just kind of looks towards the fountain. It's not staring at Trixie now. And are you just here to pay general respects or to ask for something, if I might inquire?
I mean, there's one thing I would like to ask. I don't really expect an answer, but she kind of looks back at her friends, and then back to Zalista.
Zalista.
Zalista. My friend and I kind of ran into some problem, and I'm hoping to get some guidance on maybe if I can fix it or help with it.
And there's just this slight quirk of an eyebrow. Problems? Might I ask what type of problems?
Well, I mean, we just came from Toril before we came to Toril. And it was like, just making sure, are we keeping this hush-hush or no?
The whole like devouring world swarm thing.
Yeah.
Tell who you need to.
Yeah, it's one of the things like above table. even if you guys are keeping it hush hush at the moment,
Yeah, it's kind of hard to hide a
the Rock of
planet.
Brawl knows that there is some shit happening on Toril, even if not everybody fully understands what's happening, because there has been the influx of refugees.
Mm. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So we're not really, like, able to keep it hush-hush, like, like Amy had suggested too.
Well, you guys may, as far as you are aware, might be the only ones that have some idea, or one of the few that have an idea of what it specifically is going on, but the knowledge that there is some sort of catastrophe happening on Toril is known and is spreading.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we just came from Toril, and it was being attacked or consumed by this crystal being thing. I was one of my friends who got guidance from another god, and I thought maybe some other deity, maybe one of the lunar deities has some insight to add.
As you say that, you can see this kind of going from this placid, kind of blank look to a slow frown. And there's a single nod as she's like processing. I see. So, that is quite a big ask.
A little bit.
And there's enough of a shift in her posture of kind of going tense. You can kind of see her like back straighten and her shoulders go a little rigid, that the other woman who is standing further away and was kind of watching and waiting for her to pretty much finish with you and come back to the conversation that was being had, takes note and steps forward a little bit, and not into conversation range with you necessarily, but into, you can hear her without any issue, and she can hear you without any issue. And I will go ahead and share her for everybody to be able to see. And as she steps forward, roll me anybody that is kind of taking note of her and examining her. Trixie for certain, but if Booker and Button, you are paying any attention at all to this and wanting to examine perception.
Perception.
Perception. God damn it.
Yes, we see. Or Button sees, not Booker.
I do not. Sad.
Big beady eyes. See.
Big beady eyes. That's an oxymoron.
Listen, they're small. So the eyes are small, but by comparison to their proportions, it's big.
Trixie and Button, as you're kind of like watching this woman come closer, again, she's pretty tall. She's a couple inches taller than, or a good couple inches taller than Trixie. And she kind of moves with this odd grace to her, even with the heels that she is wearing. You don't hear her footsteps. And she kind of stops and clasps her hands in front of her, kind of over her stomach. Both of you see a distinct moment where her eyes glint a silver white before going back to kind of a normal eye color. And she looks over all three of you and looks towards the tiefling with this like little quirk of a brow, and Zalista just shakes her head slightly. Well, if you're trying to ask something so particular and admittedly important with Goddess, I suppose it's only fair that we try to make sure you are given the best chances possible.
Thanks.
And as Zalista says that, she kind of looks towards the other woman who nods, and she goes off towards what at first looks like just a standard plain stone block of the wall that stands about 3-4 feet by 3-4 feet square. And as she runs her hands over it, you can see runes start to open or start to light on it with this pale silvery kind of script, and the block just slowly slides open, and she pulls out a little box from some shelves that are revealed and comes back over and will hand the box to Zalista, who just takes them in one hand and then offers her other hand towards you, Trixie. And it's very much like, she's trying to guide you somewhere.
Okay. You should follow.
And so she just lightly fingers wrap around one of your forearms and just kind of guides you to the pool, actually. And you can see that there are steps that are very, very small, very much not meant for regular use, up the side of the pool. The edge of the pool itself stands a little over chest height for you, so that unless you are on the stairs or somehow up in the air, you can't see the full image of what is being reflected. And the Zalista just kind of guides you up to stand at first on the very side of the pool, looking out over it. And as you are this close to it and able to see it from kind of the side now, it seems very much like still undisturbed water, but as you kind of tilt your head one way and then the other, there's almost a bulge to the water where the moon and the stars are reflected in it. Like something is just underneath the surface of it. And she will kind of kneel down, and you can see her open the box and start tossing a few things into the water. It looks like some petals and some ashes of some sort, and you can hear her kind of muttering under her breath some sort of ritual that she is trying to prepare. And as that is happening, the other woman just kind of steps a little bit closer to being in the center, on a center line for the pool. And the guard actually comes up to stand beside her, both just kind of watching very intently this water. Booker and Button, what are the two of you doing at the moment?
Booker is he's watching with some interest in what's happening, but he's mostly just kind of leering. He seems like not uneasy, but he just doesn't know anything about this temple and didn't have an interest in going to it outright. So he's just kind of spotting, kind of like gargoyle style, sitting up on the ledge and overlooking at everything.
I know it's very, very surprising, but Button is taking notes. Button is very intrigued on what the fuck is happening. They have my friend. There's something happening. I must write all of this down. This is very, very tall and very up high. Button will try to climb maybe like the ledge of the stair to get like on Booker's height so that they can get a better look.
Get
So
yourself
they
up
can
onto
write
the
down.
railing.
Yeah. But he's gonna try to get themselves onto the railing. It probably like them standing on the railing is probably the same height as Booker just sitting on it. But they need the vantage point so that they can write down everything.
So after a moment, or a few moments, Trixie, what does home smell like?
Home smells like pine needles. Pine needles and like wood wax.
Mm-hmm.
Candles.
So as
Yeah.
after a few moments, Zalista closes the box with like an audible snap and sets it aside and just places her hands on the top of the water, very much like she is planning on like touching the top of a bed or the top of some flat, solid surface, to where her hands are just skimming the top. And you first see this ripple of across the water from that touch, from that very, very slight disturbance. And then you see another ripple go across that almost looks like it is lit from inside. And as these steady pulses of ripples go out, very much in time with whatever Zalista is saying under her breath, you start to get that distinct smell of home, of pine forests and wood wax and sap from a tree and drying pine cones. And after a moment, Zalista just turns and looks at you like out of the corner of her eye, looking up, and then looks towards the water. Step inside.
Trixie looks to Zalista and there's a very slight hesitation. A little nervous, but she will do so.
And as you step inside, at first you like put a foot in, thinking you're going to immediately sink into the water, but there's just this slight resistance. Just enough that you can put both feet in, and your feet are only sinking about 3 or 4 inches into the water. And then Zalista just kind of nods. Walk to the moon.
Trixie will start walking to the moon.
As you walk across the surface, you sink deeper and deeper and deeper. Every step, another couple of inches. Until right beside the moon, you are up to your neck. And the water itself still smells of pine, and of home, and of candles, and burning wax. The water itself feels warm. Just that perfect temperature that you almost don't notice it. And it immediately puts you in a state that you feel relaxed. You feel almost sleepy. That right before an afternoon nap type of feel. And then as Zalista lifts her hands out of the water and stands up again on the edge of this pool, the last ripple that goes out from where her hands leave the water seems to grow and grow and grow until it, as it comes up close to you, completely envelops your head. I need a wisdom save from Trixie.
Oh. I was preparing for Button and Booker.
Not yet.
Oh fuck, was this a trap? Oh no!
As this water rushes across your head, over the top of your head, there's a moment, just that instinctive panic that comes from unexpected water to the face, essentially. But then, after that moment passes, you feel almost like somebody has wrapped arms around you from behind, and they kind of hug of sorts. Not tight, not restraining. Just a hug around the arms, around the shoulders. And you feel a presence behind you that is both comforting, like it might be a mother or a father or somebody that you inherently trust standing behind you, but also feels so immense and so vast that it's terrifying.
That's a weird mix of emotions. I mean, Trixie tries to look over her shoulder, I guess.
As you try to look over your shoulder, you see just like the side of because you're not trying to escape the hug, correct?
Correct.
You just see kind of the side of the face of a woman. Face, neck, shoulder. That her skin seems almost translucently pale. Long, flowing white hair. And you catch just a glint of an eye that at first looks just shockingly blue. And then in the next moment, it looks like a full moon instead. You get this sense of amusement and curiosity as this woman kind of like is very clearly looking down at you as she is kind of holding you. And where? Why are you here, little one?
I had some questions. I was hoping maybe you could give me some guidance.
And there's first a kind of giggle that shifts and the tone changes as you feel this woman kind of move behind you, still holding you. And she shifts to where you can't see from the side you're looking. Instinctively your head snaps around to look over your other shoulder, and the side of the face that you get on this side, rather than this young, kind of beautiful, eerie maiden, looks like a grandmother with white hair pulled up high in a bun. Same brilliant blue eye that seems to flash back and forth between blue and full moon, but her face is withered and wizened with age and wrinkled more than you knew anybody's face could be wrinkled. And the giggle turns into this kind of deep laugh from this old woman. And what questions would those be?
So, Trixie is a little in awe, because I don't think she's ever encountered goddesses before. So she's a little stunned. As much as she had been thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna ask for guidance, she wasn't expecting actual answers. Just, more of the, pray and you'll be guided and blah, blah, blah. So she's a little amazed. So she takes an extra second or two to respond. She really wants to turn around, but she also doesn't want to move from the hug. Twirl's under attack right now, and me and my friends want to try and fix it, I guess. I was hoping maybe you'd have some guidance on that.
You just get this, quirk of what you're pretty sure would be some sort of crooked smile from the corner of the mouth that you can see. And this little deepening of the wrinkles. You think you can do something? Why you?
I'd like to. It's my home.
And the voice and kind of face shifts back to the other side of the young, eerily beautiful maiden. Oh, it's all of our homes. You do know something like this is a challenge, is an understatement.
She'll nod.
And you will still put your life on the line?
I mean, wouldn't anyone?
Again, you get that distinct sensation of amusement. But roll me an insight.
Okay.
in that amusement, there is something else. You get the distinct impression of almost laughing to hide something. But you're not quite sure what. And the maiden just... You see her tilt her head ever so slightly. More of that flowing silver white hair falling over her shoulder. And as it moves, you're almost certain it is moonlight. I'm not sure that I know exactly what this is. But there are others that call to me, that have cried about these things. And then she shifts back to the other side, and you see the old woman. Yes, there's some across the astral sea. Some deep in another wild sphere. One that is slowly being eaten from the inside.
Where? Is this where it originates?
Is this where what?
It originates?
You get this, like, distinct grunt of kind of no. It's like, no. Oh, this comes from deep in the astral sea. Someplace far out of reach of any moon. And then the maiden chimes in. No, this place might hold a key. A little bit of strength, which you can try to deal with this.
Strength, huh? How would we get there? You said it's far, right?
Don't you seek to sail across the seas?
True.
If you want to go there, we can try to guide. But we would need a promise from you first.
What kind of promise?
Should you survive this, should you save Toril, come back here. Come back and help me.
That doesn't seem like a bad promise. It's already kind of the goal of my family to serve the lunar gods, so that doesn't seem so bad.
And there's a kind of quiet observation. You can tell and feel this being examining you. And even though she is behind you, it feels like she is able to kind of look at you from every angle. I won't ask anything of you yet. There's too much at stake still. Our home does need a champion. But if you survive, it is proof that you are actually worthy of being more.
More than a champion of Toro?
Your kind of like nervous laughter gets a little giggle fading into that old chuckle from the goddess behind you. Oh, there's much more than just Toro. You'll see.
Well, I always wanted adventure. It's gonna be one for the ages, huh? She's trying to laugh off her nervousness.
And you can feel that amusement again. And slowly that kind of hug loosens, and you feel hands move to your shoulders and spin you around to face her. Roll me a wisdom save. Okay. So, as you are spun around to face this goddess, you at first have to squint as it feels like you are looking directly into its shining white light. But then you see at first the outline of a figure, of a woman, stands taller than you by a little bit, but not massive. And on one side, you do see a young, pale, beautiful woman. And on the other side, you see an old, wizened crone. But in the center, right where the two bodies meet, rather than meeting and blending, there is a large black gap of a void. Like something is missing. And this goddess just kind of tilts her head, looking at you, and then leans forward very carefully and kisses you on the forehead. And immediately you have the vision of this woman disappear, and you are sputtering out water, having just been slapped in the face by a wave of water in this pool. And we will pause that for a second. Booker and Button, give me wisdom saves and then give me perception rolls.
Give me 1 second.
No.
Okay. Ooh, my knuckles. Ah, man. Okay. You said wisdom saves and then perception rolls, right?
Yes.
Wisdom and perception.
Wisdom save.
Not bad for an int character.
Perception. Yeah, I know. Sheet of luck. Man, my perception roll is not great.
Okay. 20.
So, as the two of you are just kind of standing and watching Trixie just walk into this pool of water, you've been seeing these steady ripples across the surface of it. And you could see magic pulsing out. And you watch as this final wave goes and splashes over her head, and there is a distinct moment where you both feel a shift around you of something magical, something that neither of you fully recognize, but it's something big and powerful. And you can see the entire pool of water in the moment that this water hits Trixie in the face. Rather than reflecting the moon and the stars, it is completely white. And Button, you also notice in this room, as you're kind of watching the pool, a little shift of movement in this back hallway. And you see a very thin, very tall figure that you can't quite make out anything more than that in the shadows, seemingly watching this pool along with the rest of you. And you feel that magic, both Booker and Bud, that magic just course through this room, shifting as that water goes white, and it feels like everything in that pool hangs there for an extra second or two longer than it should, just long enough that you have time to process it and start to try and react, and then the water goes back to normal with the reflection just blurring with this ripple as Trixie starts coughing and sputtering from the water.
Booker is like just absolutely fucking gobsmacked.
For once, Button pauses writing.
Trixie's coughing up water and starts making her way back. God. Actually choking here. 1 second.
Oh no.
It's fine, you're in character.
I took a drink of water and it went down the wrong way.
It's no. What happens is that you got hit in the face with a wave of magic water.
She starts slowly wading her way back to I can't think of her name. The priestess lady. Zalista, yes.
And as you wade your way back, rather than going up what felt like a steady slope that you walked into, the water stays deep all the way up to the edge of the pool. And Zalista, just as soon as you put your hands on the edge, reaches down and kind of helps you up and out of the water.
Thanks. You know, warning would have been nice about that part.
There's just a slight, almost mischievous look on Zalista's face. And you get this very simple apologies. And Booker and Button, you can see that the two in front of you that were just kind of observing have started to talk very quickly and quietly back and forth. And very whispered. But if you want to try and roll perception to listen in, you can, or you can try to focus on Trixie.
Going for the coin.
Booker's trying to focus on Trixie because he has a kind of nervous, protective sense of like, I gotta make sure they don't like do something that makes her suddenly fall limp or fall over, because that's gonna make Booker immediately snap to attention. So his eyes are on Trixie.
Does
Button
he actually
is gonna
care?
Button's gonna be a little nosy.
Okay.
So perception?
Yes. Okay, let me look at this really fast. I need to get Spelljammer notes. So you hear them talking back and forth, but you immediately realize that they are both speaking in a language you don't know. It is something close to Sylvan, but you're not quite sure what it is. Elvish, maybe. Celestial, maybe. You pick up a few words you think might be as kind of neighboring languages you think might have certain meanings to them. You're pretty sure you hear goddess. You're pretty sure you hear like never happen or shouldn't happen. And there is one word that you hear very distinctly that you're like, I don't think that's a word. I think that's a name. And you get the name Arilla.
How to spell?
Arrilla.
Arrilla. I'll write this down for later. Button is pulling out like a spare cloak or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Zalista just helps guide Trixie back down the stairs away from the pool. And almost as soon as Trixie steps onto the stairs back down the side, the pool itself, you can see Button and Booker from your vantage point, it goes still. It doesn't continue to have the ripples and waves that it should have from somebody just being in the pool and getting out. And Zalista guides Trixie all the way back down to the floor of the temple. And you can see her, like, a hand lift as if she's about to pat Trixie on the back a few good times. But then think better of it and lower again and just clasp in front of her. And just a very small tilt of the head. Was that productive?
Yeah, definitely enlightening.
You get almost what you would think of as a knowing smile from this woman. As Button makes their way over with an extra cloak. Holding up, dragging on the ground.
Ah, thanks, Button.
You
She'll take it.
must get dry.
Yeah. My wings don't particularly like being wet. She kind of like shakes them a little bit.
We need to get soup.
Need to get what?
Soup?
You need to eat soup.
Yeah. Food would be good at some point.
We are going to get you soup now.
Trixie looks at Zesta, and she'll say, "Thank you. Thanks. That was definitely helpful."
And Bliss just kind of nods her head slightly. If Saloon had words for you, then you truly are favored.
She looks uncomfortable at that, but nods. Yeah, I guess so. Thank you again. She'll start going back to the group.
You get one hand on, like, pant leg, dragging Trixie towards Booker.
I can walk. You don't need to do that.
You need to walk faster.
I'll say Booker was sitting, like, take a few steps to the bottom of the steps, and then Button ran off ahead, and he'll, like, kind of meet them halfway, and he'll give a firm shoulder pat to Trixie, and, like, kind of dip his head a little bit lower and be like, "You all right? Got any water up your nose?"
No, I think I coughed all that up.
Good. Pat you on the shoulder again. It's a weird church. Just do like a big look around the room, just seeing this like big area and the reflecting pool thing. Just like, yeah, I like mine better. No offense.
I think it has its charms. Suffocating on water is not one of them, though.
Did water enter your lungs? This is important.
I don't know, maybe a little bit. I think I got it now.
While you eat soup, I shall examine you. Turns to Booker. Oh. We have a new mission. We must get Trixie soup. Immediately.
Booker just blinks and does like one very small nod and just goes, "You're right. I guess we'll have to make a little detour now and go find some," looks at Trixie, "soup."
She just kind of shrugs, like, I give it up. I tried telling them.
Trixie
Huh?
holds out her hands. Your bag. I will carry.
I can carry my bag. It's
You
fine.
need to focus on eating soup. I will carry your bag. Grabby hands.
Okay, sure, fine. Fine. Trixie will hand Button her bag. And once Button has it, she will pick up Button.
Fucking squirm. She's like, no, this is not good.
What? You're carrying my bag.
You need to focus on not getting sick, eating soup, not carrying large objects, getting provided warm clothing. Put Trixie.
I'm not carrying any large objects. You're carrying my backpack.
Turns to Booker.
He immediately
Trixie
holds up
is-
his hands. He's like, "Don't put me in this.
Trixie is grinning.
Y'all figured out."
Booker.
Nope.
Booker, please.
Nope. Turns around and starts walking up the steps.
Yeah, I would say Trixie starts walking big, long strides.
Fucking
Button.
wiggle. Button's trying to escape.
That's what forearms are for.
Fuck it. Button is not above casting enhance ability on themselves to escape.
Do it, coward.
Fuck it. I'm casting enhance ability on themselves.
What enhance ability? What are
Full
you
strength.
Bull strength. Okay. Competing athletics rolls here.
Would this count as grappling?
Yes.
I get enhance ability gives me advantage on strength checks.
Ah.
Yeah, you don't even
Yeah.
need fucking advantage. Actually, you did need the advantage.
Yeah, Button just like all of a sudden gets like you swear that like they get slightly shinier.
Button, use Harden.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
And all of a sudden, a second after she gets they get shinier, is the struggling gets far more intense, and you have to drop Button.
You know what? And the carrying capacity doubles. What is? Button's gonna pick up Trixie.
Oh my god! I immediately know.
Okay, so if you're gonna cast spells, are you gonna make me use my key points here? Because I'm about to.
You know what? Truce. Button
Do
just
it.
carries the bag. Button does not carry Trixie. How about
Coward.
that?
Coward.
Booker, you
Listen,
better
listen.
you better start moving a little bit faster.
He is just continuing to walk and not looking back. They'll figure it out. They'll figure their shit out.
Imagine during the struggle, not Booker, Button is just trying to like repeat facts on how to prevent sickness when someone is caught in the rain or wet.
I think
They
Booker is
wiggle
just
free.
Booker's just happy he's not the target this time.
Yep.
Button is
if
not
I
go.
keep moving forward and not looking at them, then they won't notice me.
Button is going to wiggle fucking free, hoist up Trixie's bag like it weighs even less than it did before, and just push Trixie forward to catch up to Booker. As they catch up, Button is just going to look at Booker. You were no help.
Booker just like raises an eyebrow and shakes his head a little bit.
I will remember this.
Just the same sort of look. His eyebrow still stays up, and he just goes like, "Dang, cold. Not really sure what to do, but I'm not helping. That's what I'm definitely sticking with."
This is cataloged and recorded for future reference.
Uh-oh. Trixie will kind of lean over to him and is like, if you think I'm a menace, just wait till they enact their revenge.
Revenge for what? I didn't do nothing. This was your fault. Sorta.
Trixie, in her usual posture of putting her arms behind her head, it is just kind of whistling. not dating that response.
Reaches out, pulls out a fucking hat from their fucking bag. Put this on as well to protect your wet hair from wind.
I don't wanna. I'm fine, Button. We're gonna go get soup, right?
Put this on. Holding the hat up.
Trixie will take the hat and put it on her fist.
Button like makes the motion that they learned from Nevalier of just like deep sigh. There is no actual breath being let out, but their shoulders go back and just sag forward. This fills me with disappointment, Trixie.
You're not the first. You won't be the last.
Booker just watching this whole thing, walking like 5 foot off to the side from wherever this is transpiring, just like, what the fuck, man? Watch all this. What is all this?
What's all what?
I don't even know if, are you guys fighting? Is this a fight?
I don't think it's a fight.
I don't know what it is.
This is a battle, but not a fight.
It just blinks. Right. What's next on the list?
So, with that, you all, as you kind of exit out of the Temple of Saloon and start making your way back out of the Temple District, back towards the Middle City and the Low City, you can see a distinct shift in the people around you. There is noticeably fewer, though there are still people moving around. There are noticeably fewer people. And it seems like even the businesses are starting to shift. Some are very clearly closed. Some are just seemingly less populated. And Booker, you in particular, would know that this is showing signs that this is Brawl heading into its evening, kind of quote-unquote nighttime phase. though there is no night and day on Brawl, as almost all creatures still need either sleep or kind of periods of rest or periods of trances or such things. Brawl does tend to have a period where things are quieter, more things are closed, fewer people are around, and it's generally accepted as when most people, particularly people that live on Brawl, and are there all the time, go to bed or kind of go in for the night. So you would know that there's fewer things that can be done now. This is the time that certain places will be closed. And this is generally the time that you in the past, having come here a handful of times before, would have kind of bunkered down yourself so that you could have as many options open to you as possible.
Okay, so we're kind of reaching the end of the day for things that we could accomplish. If that is the case, wait, how do we meet back up with Liliana? Was that decided upon?
The druid is going to take her back to the Happy Beholder.
Gotcha. Which is where our rooms are.
Yes.
I think I want to go and do more stuff, but places are going to start closing. I imagine there's not enough time for us to get to star charts for Button.
No,
before
not
they're
today.
Not
Yeah.
today. I say we just go back, meet up Liliana, compare notes, and then go to bed. New day tomorrow.
Yeah,
The
makes
places,
sense.
the only place that you would like, the places that have been voiced as interesting for various people, for various reasons, all of the taverns stay open pretty much 24/7. Although whether or not people that you want to be there are there, or whether or not the owners are awake, is a different question. So all of the taverns stay open pretty much 24/7, and the Mage's Hall stays open pretty much 24/7. But that was something that Micken was the only one that I think was interested in that, except for Booker might have been interested in it. But like the arena, Elemanders, stores, all of that would be closing down for the most part. The library would be closing down as well.
Not the library.
Librarian's gotta sleep.
Solution. Have an autonomous librarian.
You still have to spend 4 hours in low power mode.
That's fair.
Here, then, yeah, we could just. Well, I think we'll just head back to the tavern now. Save ourselves the trouble of walking around and being disappointed that everything's fucking closed. Fair? We've had enough of our fill of weird shit for the day.
Sounds good to me.
Rest is good.
Okay. So you all head back through the middle city and low city to the Happy Beholder. It's quite a walk, as the Happy Beholder is very close to the docks. And it is easier in some ways as you are heading downhill for most of it. But you do notice the distinct shift in the city of more of the windows being closed and the still present sounds of life continuing, but it getting distinctly quieter and people not stopping and talking to each other quite as much, more so focusing on going where they need to go and getting there as efficiently as possible. You even looking up at the sky and some of the wider open areas see fewer ships and skiffs moving around in amongst the swirling wild space above and the various schools of wild space fish. And it's almost, in some ways, for some of you, unnerving to see the shift in the city going from almost overloading with the amount going on in every direction to something quieter. And for others of you, it's almost relaxing and calming as you kind of follow the paths and patterns of the city to know that even in a place as strange and unique as Brawl, it still very much functions by some of the same rules and laws as cities that you know from Toril. And as you get closer to the Happy Beholder, you still hear the general noise of conversation and coming and going of patrons, but there's less music now. There's less overt noise and chaos as the patrons themselves are winding down. And you enter into the Laughing Beholder and delete some of these things because there's not as many people here anymore. And it's much easier to find a
Holy
table this time as there are fewer people around. What are you saying holy shit for?
I think last time I saw the Happy Beholder, there weren't this many tokens all over the place.
Oh.
Sorry. Continue.
I was like, what did I do? So there's more tables around, and you managed to actually see at the table that you had left last time, you do see Captain Elena sitting there with a tankard. She looks a little tired, maybe a little frustrated, but she is there and in one piece.
Oh. So, seeing Captain Elena, Booker will, kind of eyebrows go up for a second in recognition and just go, "Oi, Cap! How'd the sale go? I assume it went well."
As you come, I'm assuming to move to sit down at the table with her.
Correct, yeah. Booker will saunter over, very entitled to a seat.
She just kind of looks towards Booker and shakes her head slightly. It's in process, to say the least, but headache. Not done, but in the works.
Okay. Sound a little less than thrilled about it.
She just kind of pinches the bridge of her nose. Oh, you'd be surprised by the amount of politics you have to deal with on this rock.
This is like a soft, kind of like a scoff, or not scoff from Booker, but like a, just like a huh. And he'll sit down next to her. So, and Booker will look at the other the others in the group. We've been running around town making our own little run-ins. with a bunch of different people, different walks of life. We ended up learning some interesting fun facts about a couple of the things going on here. But I figured we should probably talk to you now about the business with, well, all that mess we left behind.
And she kind of, you see this, the kind of prudish sharpness that comes with a captain kind of slowly cover her face, and the tiredness kind of goes away as she examines you with this like single eyebrow raise, and almost as if to punctuate the we've been running into some interesting people. Liliana steps through the door with the druid, who very much does not look like he fits in with this place. And Liliana, you would know that the closer and closer you got into the low city, where it's more dense and much less naturey, the more uncomfortable and kind of grumpy he got.
Oh, I understand. I didn't like it when there's no grass either.
And you just hear him kind of muttering, like, into his beard, this, like, not natural. I don't know why anybody's out here like this.
I know, right? It's an absolute travesty.
But as soon as you get through the doors, he kind of, like, opens the swinging doors for you. And you step inside. He scans around, spots Booker, specifically, because Booker was the one you were riding on his shoulder. Says, oh, looks like your friends are here.
Thank you very much for your escort.
And he nods a little bit. If you need anything else, you know how to get back to the cave now.
Yes, I do. Good luck on your end.
And he nods and very quickly steps away. Kind of, as you kind of like lean out the doorway and watch him disappear around the corner, very clearly with that extra like half-step hustle to try and get back out of the low city.
Hello again, Lily. Hope you had fun
Hello
with your
again, Booker.
druid friend.
Oh yes, he is quite a delight. He is a little grumpy, but I do not blame him. He is a sweet old man.
Fair enough.
Hello again. And what all did you do?
Well, I went to ask some religious people about a couple of questions I had, and Strixie had a religious experience. Kind of weird.
Yeah. Really wasn't expecting to speak to a goddess.
And as you all are saying that, Elena just kind of blinks and just kind of scans each of your faces one by one going around the table. Religious experiences and goddesses?
It's a weird rock. Really
Trixie
weird rock.
points to Booker.
I do have notes if you would like them.
And Elena just like looks towards Button, and there is this like very distinct like consideration. I may need to look at them depending on how well all of you explain this to me. I thought all of you were just gonna go fuck off and go find a drink.
Well, we did that. But then we
Uh-huh.
fucked off from fucking off.
And she just takes a noticeably long swig of her drink.
So, as I was saying, well, at Button's suggestion, I'm thinking that now that we're all reconvened here, we might share some notes about some things we learned regarding the situation we sort of left behind on Toril. That whole deal.
Mm, there's a slightly darker look on Elena's face, and Micken kind of stops, nervously fidgeting where he is at to listen a little bit closer.
Booker will like look at the group and then uh, look from Liliana to Trixie and say, "Well, y'all talk to some, I'll say professionals in their field. Anything interesting stick out about the whole situation? Any new updates that you might have?"
All of creation's gonna end soon. And with that, Liliana like goes to Larry. Can I get a drink, please? Some honey.
Mm, you say that, Elena just like was kind of swirling her mug slightly. It just very slowly puts the mug down on the table, and then crosses, like, weaves her fingers together on top of the table in this very tightly controlled manner of like, I'm not gonna lose my shit, even though I really want to lose my shit right now. And she looks at Lily. I think I'm gonna need a little bit more of an explanation than that.
I'm sorry if I butchered a Z. I'm going off of memory here. Well, basically, I was with the Leaf Lord, and he said, like, all of that stuff that's going on Tori is a bunch of negative energy stuff, and it is trying to strangle out all of the good energy. And if all of the good energy goes away, then we can't live anymore. That's the short summary.
She just kind of blinks and opens her mouth, closes her mouth, and very pointedly looks at Booker.
Booker like tilts his head back and forth in like an approximation of what Liliana said. Just kind of like, more or less. Listen, we're gonna do our part to not let that happen, is the deal. Because we all kind of live here, got a vested interest in making sure it doesn't run out of time. Not while we still got shit to do.
And she just stares at her tankard for a moment, picks it up and drains it, and thumps it back on the table very loud. And it's a very sharp call, just, Luigi? And one of the eye stalks had already kind of looked over when Liliana called out. But at that, Luigi just, like, almost bounces a couple of inches higher in the air. Like, you're pretty sure that is about the approximation that a beholder can manage of a jump. And two more of the eye stalks look in y'all's direction. And only a couple seconds later, Luigi starts to move away from the table he was talking to. And you kind of gather that, oh, he disengaged himself very quickly to come over towards y'all's table. And again, you just see this slow, wide smile stretch across him. It's good to see all of you back. Hopefully something productive.
Just slow head nod from Booker, and then looking again at Trixie and just kind of raising an eyebrow, remembering her whole weird religious experience, just like productive, mostly. Enlightening, mostly.
Enlightening is a good word.
Enlightening. You want the hard liquor then?
And a bowl of soup, please.
Oh my god. Trixie just face bombs.
Can you put fertilizer in mine?
I can see what we can do.
Thank you very much, Luigi.
And he looks like one of the eye stalks kind of lowers, looking at Elena, who is did not turn around to look at Luigi as he approached. And finally, as this eye stalk kind of comes in between Liliana and Elena, she looks at the eye stalk and then looks over her shoulder at Luigi. Did you know anything about this? And there's this, like, kind of breathy giggle from Luigi. I heard a little bit. They had a few questions. We had to know why there were refugees flooding the rock. Elena just shakes her head and leans back in her seat with this heavy sigh. Okay. So, whatever's happening to Toril is destroying creation? She, like, questions, looking at Lily. And then looking back to the group. And all of you have decided to, what? Pick a fight with whatever's destroying creation?
Well, not pick a fight, so much as fight back. We
Okay,
will
to
pick a
stop
fight
it.
with it, eventually.
It's less picking a fight and more like we got voluntold to go fight.
Well, I was kind of made an offer to do it in exchange for some benefits, which seems fair to me.
I am just doing it to help nature. So I
Seems
want
fair.
to do it.
Well, I was given a opportunity, I guess. We can get some more insight on what's going on if we can fix this, essentially. If, you know, if we agree to try and fix it.
Looks very pointedly towards Micken and Button, and Micken just kind of gulps. I mean, I would like to stop it from killing the planet, if at all possible.
Nod, nod, nod.
Seconded.
Booker gestures to everyone and just goes, say we're all in agreement, one way or another.
She just kind of rubs her temple for a moment. And as she does, Luigi is very obviously not leaving, is listening to this conversation. Not even trying to, like, look like he's not. But there is one eye stalk that lifts into the air and starts glowing. And a few seconds later, drinks come and sit down in front of all of you. No soup yet, but you can assume that it's being worked on. And it is distinctly hard liquor in front of everybody.
Everyone?
Uh-huh.
Oh. Button takes their glass. They've never had liquor before.
Booker does the very, like, traditional. He grabs a shot glass, lifts it, and like tamps the bottom, and kicks the whole thing back, and then tamps it back onto the table. All right, have a drink. We're gonna talk about this now.
Button watches Booker. Perfectly mimics his motions.
Beside Booker, Elena like takes a swig of hers, not a full knockback, but you can gather from her having the tankard in front of her and generally her kind of mannerisms, she's probably a couple drinks in anyway, so it makes sense for her to not like immediately chug. And across the table, Micken just like kind of sips and grimaces and puts it back down, but does not like release it or push it away. And Elena just kind of crosses her arms and looks around the group. Okay. So, deciding to fight back. From what I saw when we left, it looked like just giant crystals. How exactly are you planning on fighting back?
We're working on that bit. Needs a little bit of workshopping.
Apparently there is something that could help us with that. Some sort of strength, quote unquote, something to give us strength.
Did you hear anything from the druid about it? Looking at Liliana.
Something to give us strength?
Huh.
Did I? I don't remember if I did.
No, Liliana did not.
Nope, does not ring a bell.
Oh.
Y'all gotta start keeping at least notebooks of your visions and talking to the gods.
Guys, when Amy's not here, you gotta take your own fucking notes.
I took notes.
Where are they? I just
Where do you think?
I saw.
I fucking
appreciate
did. Good. But Booker just kind of shrugs and goes, "Well, if that's something you know more about," pointing to Trixie, or something you heard from your sort of experience, gives us something to go off of.
Mm-hmm. She said there was a planet or a place that was also being attacked by it was also being attacked by, I assume, what was what we encountered or whatever. There's something there to help us. Lady Saloon said she'd guide us. But it's in another sphere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Clarifying that? Yeah.
Yeah, another wild sphere.
Another wild sphere.
So Booker nods and then like taps his hands on the table for a second and then looks at the captain and just goes, "So, if you're not down to do some dangerous, potentially life-threatening kind of bullshit, that's fine. But we'd like to borrow the ladybug if you don't mind. Galaxy saving and all."
Elena just kind of seems to be lost in thought for a moment. Is looking between all of you. Very much you can feel the weight of her gaze, trying to figure out how serious all of you are. And there's initially this like expression of like, I am surrounded by a crew that has gone stark raving mad. and then seeing the kind of conviction and like everybody seeming to agree on everything, just kind of this like slow realization of like, okay, at least they really think that they are telling the truth, that this is a real thing, that they've had these experiences, talked to these beings, and she kind of tilts her head one way and then the other. Well, you come back to me with an actual plan, and we can talk about you taking the ladybug.
Booker nods. Fair enough. Give us maybe a day to come up with a plan.
She nods slightly. Give me some time to continue making deals that I need to make. At the very least, get the ladybug stopped. Whether it be to go off and fight crystal vines or on our next shipment. Be seen. But hopefully you all have some more, I don't know, idea to go off of other than just vaguely some other wild sphere has something useful.
Trixie just shrugs. I'm just telling it like I was told.
Elena just kind of pinches the bridge of her nose. Alright. Well, guess we'll meet here again tomorrow evening. And see what you can propose to me then.
Booker nods and looks at the rest of the group and then looks back at the captain and just nods again and says, "We'll figure something out."
Elena just gives one curt nod, and as she does so, soup floats over through the air above everybody's head and settles on the table in front of everybody. Though there is a noticeably smaller portion for Button than for everybody else.
Button is going to slide their smaller portion and a regular portion to Trixie.
And Elena just kind of like looks at her soup and picks it up. So she stands up and turns to Luigi, who is still hovering directly behind her. So she is now 6 inches from giant eyeball. Stares for a moment. I'm going to bed, Luigi. And Luigi just like, oh, and floats directly up so that she can walk under, and then lowers himself back down.
This man is not even hiding the fact that he's eavesdropping so hard.
And you see the captain walk through the restaurant back towards the doors that lead into the inn portion of the building.
All right. Next order of business. Looks at everyone again. Did we learn anything new in our different spheres that we need to maybe share betwixt everyone? Did you learn anything particularly intriguing from the druidy guy?
Piper.
Liliana.
Hang on, I think my audio is a bit screwed. I'm gonna restart my Discord.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Then, Trixie, did you happen to find anything else, or hear anything else from your goddess type?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
We hear you.
Okay. Okay, so what was the last thing said?
Booker asked, like, did you learn anything new from the druid that we didn't already know?
Well, you mean aside from that negative energy, positive energy thing? None.
Okay, good. Good. Sorta. And you? Pointing at Trixie.
I mean, finding the thing that could help us, and then it's in another wild sphere. I think that's pretty sure that's the important stuff.
Okay, well, seems good to me then. And did she explain a little bit more about how we're supposed to be guided by the, or how she's supposed to guide us to this thing?
Not really. She
Well,
just wanted me to make a promise to her, which I did. Pretty sure I confirmed.
Booker just blinks. Like, do you not know how? Like, he doesn't say this, but there's like a kind of halfway, like, did you not realize if you made a promise?
I'm pretty sure. No. I agreed. I don't know how it's going to like
Manifest.
Yeah, like
There you go.
Well, a map would be nice.
A map?
Well, these god types never really do the whole, like, direct thing. It's usually some kind of, like, a vibe.
Well,
We'll see how it works.
if they could
I
maybe
guess.
vibe us a point on a map, perhaps? We can't go
Yeah.
save the world if we do not know where we are going to save the world.
Well, we'll figure that out when we get there, I guess.
We can try to find maps of other wild spheres.
We're still gonna go look at the map place tomorrow. Like looking at button.
Visible excitement.
maybe we'll get a sign there.
Oh, maybe.
Well, should we tuck in for the night then?
Yeah, Tits head back and forth a little bit and just kind of nods. Can't think of anything else, so seems like it's a good time to call it a day. Just for now.
Nod.
Yeah. Okay then. To our doom, son. You all have the bestest of nights.
I hope
Booker nods. You
everyone
what?
gets. I hope everyone gets adequate hours of sleep.
The most button ass say, like waited enough to say that. Get adequate hours of sleep, everybody.
And they would make sure that Trixie eats the fucking soup, by the way.
Trixie would just take the bowl and drink it real quick.
It is a good, warm, hearty soup that, like, you can't quite place what is inside it. Everything that is inside it, you know, there are some sort of, like, veggies and some root vegetables and, like, maybe a meat. You're not completely sure. It's all minced really small. But it immediately settles, like, heavy and filling in your stomach as you drink it.
Not a bad choice. Thanks, Button.
You are welcome. Make sure Micken eats his soup too.
Micken was like very politely like spooning some soup into his mouth, like just like listening to what was going on. So he's eating, seeming more interested in the soup, less interested in the liquor. But all of you end up heading to your rooms for the evening. Again, it is tight quarters. The Happy Beholder, even though it is large compared to a lot of buildings in the lower city, it is still trying to make the most bang for its buck once you get into the back portion where the rooms are and up into the upper levels where the rooms are. So there is, unless you pay extra money for like the extra big rooms, every room is essentially just big enough for a twin bed, a desk, a wardrobe, and a wash basin. But the building, like the rooms themselves, are all pretty sturdy built. You don't hear your neighbors really. You hear some trickling like music up from the tavern below through your windows. But there is, the bed itself is fairly comfortable. Old, has a little bit of creakiness to it, but not uncomfortable, doesn't smell, isn't questionable in any way. And you all are able to settle into pleasant sleep or trance or whatever you need for the evening to pass by.
Lamp.
So you all get your long rest, and I need to pause for a quick 5-10 minutes. So
Hey.
we'll be back in 5-10 minutes if anybody needs to make a run for a drink break or anything else.
Iris, I am sorry if Button is too much.
She isn't. Or they aren't.
Okay. Just want to double check. That's just a fast way to get a cold.
Trixie is just a little too laid back about this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure what the fuck Button wanted from Booker.
Help.
He's not getting involved. Button's like, I will enact revenge, and is just like, for what? Being indifferent? That's bullshit.
Button never mentioned revenge. They just said they would remember this. And they will, but, like, they're not the type to get revenge. Probably.
Well, it's Trixie who put that idea in my head.
Yeah. Button just says that they will remember this.
And Trixie's a bit of a gremlin, so.
Mm-hmm. Liliana just busting out with just like, yeah, all of creation is going to die. All right, let's get a round of drinks, everyone.
You got to follow up bad news with drinks.
Mm-hmm.
That is tradition.
I've returned, and I'd also like to give myself a little pat on the back because I got almost that entire conversation between Trixie and Saloon.
Good work.
Nice.
I say almost because I did not get everything, but I feel confident I got at least 60%. Also, rollies with this group would be so fun.
It would be pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. And let this be a warning. If anyone gets hurt or sick, this is exactly what Button is going to do.
I would not think Button would do that for Booker.
Well, eventually Booker's going to fuck around and find out.
I know it has been a second since someone spoke, but I was just thinking of when Button bonked Booker on the leg, and then he caps.
And then
Being
immediately
protective.
healed him.
Uh-huh.
To be fair, he just attacked her friend. Like, what's a motherfucker supposed to do other than square up?
But you said Button doesn't hold grudges.
No, the matter is done and over with. Everything is fair and even now. Booker hit Trixie. Button got to hit Booker. All is fair. Perfectly balanced.
Okay. Give me another 1 or 2 minutes, folks. Sorry.
All good. Swapping out my water bottles. All I can hear is like the Call of Duty reloading. This is a wholesome meme.
Aw.
Oh, Piper.
Hmm.
Apparently they released a third Fairy Fencer game.
A third fairy fencer.
Yeah.
Wow. Popular.
I thought it was a pretty niche game. I wasn't even expecting a second one.
Well, then you gotta remember Neptunia has like 20 games in its series.
True.
Okay. Got that handled. So, you all head to bed for the evening, have a nice restful night, get your long rests in, and meet up in the morning again, or what is relative to morning, as the light outside has not necessarily changed, but you get the distinct impression of morning as the food that is offered at the tavern has shifted more towards pastries and breakfast foods and sausages, and there's less alcohol being passed around at the various tables. It's still there. In there's a little bit of a thinner crowd still in the morning. It seems more like the people that are either there all the time or the people that are staying at the Happy Beholder for one reason or another. And you're able to put your heads together over some breakfast and decide where to go. You do not have to have that conversation if you don't want to. I just need to know where you're going.
Maps
Maps?
place. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
Amy / Button has been waiting forever for maps.
True. True
It's
that.
okay. I can wait more if there is somewhere else that we might be able to find more information on where Saloon is trying to take us.
Map.
there's the map place. There's less emphasis on the edge without Finn being around. Trixie still wanted to go to the arena, or she may have changed her mind. There was
She can check
discussion.
it out whenever.
There was discussion of both the Library of Spheres and the Mages Guild Hall as places of information. And then the name that has gotten mentioned once or twice of Commodore Crux at the Rock Rat.
That is the only other place that I have a vested interest in, like, wanting to visit aside from the maps place. Everywhere else would be like, oh, okay, that's fine. We can go there, and then, but I don't think it would. Or there's not a personal investment in those other places. I thought it was just for fun.
I know we should talk to Commodore Crux to figure out what's going on with these asshole elves.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Maps place.
I was just thinking if you want to be like, I don't know, ergonomic to like hit everything, we could go like clockwise. So that we go Rock Rat, Mages Guild Hall, and then go down south, cut through Middle City to get to the star charts. And then from there, we can go to Arena, and then past the Arena is the library. That could be a path if you want to hit everything, or try to hit everything in one go.
Well, we don't necessarily need to worry too much about the geographic locations, right?
That's true.
Not
I'm just-
necessarily.
Yeah.
I will, like, time will pass a little bit faster, and I will remind y'all that y'all are still trapped on the rock for a little bit because your weapons are being worked
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
So there is the decision to have your weapons worked on for the time period that needs to go. Unless you just want to fucking leave your staff and your meteor hammer, you're not going anywhere for a little bit.
Can we just time skip if we have nothing else to do?
But we have stuff to do.
I mean, besides, like, that's only gonna take like a day at most.
What's gonna take
To
a
do
day?
The stuff. Mages
Yeah,
Guild,
like
Star Chart.
I'm not gonna make you RP a bunch of empty time, but it's more of like,
if we end up getting another thing to do
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
from
Yeah.
it.
End up getting pulled down a rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm expecting that if we go to the Rock Rat and figure out if Commodore Crux is there, it will be like, yeah, I was going to meet with these people and talk about this thing, and then we have to go do that.
Yeah. So probably star charts, and maybe library. See if we can get information.
I'm down. Star Charts, though, I think is the big one because that's
Yeah.
the most obvious place to find a place to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you head from the Happy Beholder towards Star Charts. Elmander's Star Charts is extremely well known. It's one of the very few businesses on the rock that are known not only across the rock but off of it as well. The Happy Beholder gets talked about every now and then. The Edge gets talked about every now and then. Man of War gets talked about every now and then off of the rock from people that are interested in spelljamming and in spelljammers and interested in the Rock of Brawl. And Elmander's Star Charts is amongst those, but rather like as kind of opposed to all of those where these are places to go, to hang out, inns that you can stay in. Elmander's is 100% a business. And as you all leave the Happy Beholder and kind of move around the dry docks along to the edge of the rock itself and follow the street, you can see kind of in the center of a large block of what you assume to be Middle City. It seems to be kind of in this transition points from Low City to Middle City where the cobblestones have gotten a little evener, a little bit more put together, but there's still a couple of kind of shabby buildings tucked in between a little bit nicer, grander ones. Almost in the exact middle of this block, you see a kind of oddly shaped 4-story tall building that is very skinny on the front, but you can see it disappearing over the top of the roofs of the other buildings around it. So it seems to be just very long and very skinny, and you can see out of the very top floor a lens sticking out of what you can only assume to be a telescope. There we go. Forgot the word for a second. And as you approach the front doors, they kind of creak open in front of you, and you are immediately met by a four-story tall room with a staircase that just winds up and up and up and around the different walls. And every single wall is completely covered in books and scrolls and boxes and just kind of seemingly haphazardly placed. There's not any uniformity that you can tell. There's not any organization that you can tell. It is just full of stuff. Various ages, from stuff that looks brand new to stuff that looks ancient. And the center of the room is lit by what looks to be almost a glowing astrolabe that puts out this kind of faint purple light to kind of illuminate the room itself, though various smaller magical lights are placed across the shelves to offer just a little bit more light to see by.
Quick thing. Since we're here, I want to use one of my new and interesting cool features. I want to use Spell Sight, which Spell Sight, as an action, open your senses as if I had cast Detect Magic.
I think you're about to flashbang yourself.
Kinda.
That's fine, but I gotta try it. It only lasts for 1 round.
Flashbang!
Better or worse. So it's essentially just detect magic.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
warlock vision.
Yeah, it's
Gotcha.
Warlock Vision, but I only get it for 1 minute or 1 second instead of, or 6 seconds instead of 1 minute. Jesus.
What's it called?
Spell Sight.
Okay.
As you activate that ability and kind of look around this room, immediately there is just dozens upon dozens upon dozens of different auras of different colors and different intensities and brightnesses that just almost swim before your eyes. Not everything in the shop is magical, but you can see that a vast majority of what is on the shelves is enchanted in some form or fashion. And it is primarily enchantment and illusion magic. Though there are a few here and there that are different schools of magic.
Okay.
And as all of you enter, and there's just this little bell sound that comes from the door. Though as you look back at the doorway, there is no bell attached to it. But it still rings through the building itself. You just hear a very faint, "I'm coming," from far up.
Booker's just gonna drift over to one side of the room and just, not too far from the door, but kind of look around at what is in the immediate nearby arm's reach of him.
Where did I put that away? I didn't want to put it away. Actually have handwritten notes for some of these places.
Oh shit.
It's the only way. For some reason, I kept trying to take notes on some places in Google Docs where I generally take notes, but I was having ADHD moments and it was not working. And so
Paper.
Paper was the solution.
Yeah, I got you. Button is starstruck though.
Haha. Starstruck.
Yeah.
In what are you? Well, roll me a d20, Booker. Actually, roll me 2 d20.
Yes. 18 and 6.
18 and 6. Okay. What do you think Booker is would primarily be interested in, because he knows that pretty much everything that he would touch here is probably enchanted in some form or fashion.
So there's not really anything he's immediately thinking about. He's just kind of like doing the I am a guest in a store and now I have to peruse the shop so that I look like a good guest, as I'm just interested in the wares and such. And he, like, what he would take notice of, it would probably be anything that resembles like a magic kind of like a scroll or any sort of magical cape or big like cloak of some kind. Articles of clothing stick out to him, as
We'll
well
go ahead
as
and cut you off there.
scrolls.
It would definitely not be any type of armor or clothing here. It is items, books, and
Oh, okay, like trinkets
Yeah.
and baubles and books.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Then little mechanical things,
Okay, little mechanical things.
like little clockwork things.
So,
Pocket watch to fit the aesthetic.
as you're kind of perusing the shelves, you see first a little box that seems to contain a model of a hammerhead spelljammer. But as you like kind of pick it up and examine it and like open the clear lid, the spelljammer immediately floats up.
Ooh.
And starts to kind of slowly but still drift off as if it is sailing.
Huh. Look at that. Booker just watches it like drift up and up and up.
Do you try to catch it before it gets out of reach?
Takes him a second and then realizes like, oh shit, and then tries to grab it.
You manage to snag it, and as you like snag it and actually touch the hull of the ship, you can feel a little thrum in your fingers, and it doesn't take you much to realize, yeah, there's enchantment there, but there is mechanics. There is cogs and wheels turning inside of the little ship.
Huh.
And
Can he turn it over and around and see the mechanical cogs inside it, or not really?
as you like kind of like flip it around, you can see kind of where you would either unscrew or pry open pieces to see it. Almost like, you know, we flip over a watch, you can see the hatch that you have to take off on the watch. So like, logically, he's smart enough to know, okay, that's how you get into the mechanics of it, but you can't just see it from how it is set up right now.
Okay. Neat.
And every time you kind of let go of it and shift it around, there's something in it that immediately rights the ship. So it never floats upside down or sideways. It always immediately rights itself to be upright.
You said it was in a bottle, right? When he first found it?
A little clear box.
Or a little clear box. There's probably not enough room to do this, but Booker's going to put it in the box and then turn the box upside down to see if it'll, like, rotate in the box to upright itself.
It seems to try. It gets,
Not enough room?
Yeah, not quite enough room. It gets kind of hung with its mass poking into a corner. But it tries. And any of the rest of you that want to peruse can go ahead and roll 2d20 as well. As after that little "I'm coming" comes from the very top, you hear a slow but steady thump thump of somebody walking down many stairs. And what would be the things that would immediately catch each of your attentions? Like, what type of things? Button first.
Pretty much anything like map or book related. Also any like mechanical devices.
Everything in the shop.
Yeah, so like pretty much everything. Z, take your fucking pick, man. Button is interested in everything here.
Okay, Lily?
Anything that looks like something a plant enjoyer might look at.
Okay. And Trixie?
Shiny, colorful, or anything moon related, since assumes part of the mission would be here.
Okay. So
That's a good point.
as Booker kind of gets distracted by this little hammerhead ship, Button, you immediately can see that like this shop is your paradise. There is some little part of you that immediately recognizes that if allowed, you would probably spend years in this shop, just examining and looking at everything. But most interesting immediately to you is, much like the glowing astrolab that is at the center of the shop hanging high above your head, there are a couple of smaller astrolabs that are sitting on a shelf on the main floor. Each one of them glowing different colors with different runes on them, but as you kind of approach and reach out to pick one up, you twist it and turn it, and you're not 100% familiar with this magic. But you can kind of read a couple of the runes to recognize that it is some sort of device to cast an illusion, and an illusion of a wild space sphere specifically.
Oh my god. So like, as if it like kind of projects like an illusion of a wild sphere. Is Button able to figure out what wild sphere?
You can try to turn one on and see if you recognize it.
Yes.
Okay, so you kind of find a little switch on the bottom and turn it on, and you see the already glowing runes brighten, and then around your hand with this astrolabe in the middle, a wild space projection emerges. It's about a foot in diameter. And you can see floating in the sphere planets and moons and astral bodies that seem to be moving in their proper rotation around the astrolabe, which you can only assume is taking the place of a sun. And you can roll me... you got navigator's tools, don't you?
Yep, and cartographer's tools.
Okay, so roll me 2d20, and you can add your proficiency and your intelligence.
So, you want me to roll 1d20 plus proficiency and intelligence, essentially?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're doing it at advantage.
Gotcha. Okay. That's 1 plus 3. I'm just gonna do it separately. That's not plus dollar sign.
Okay. So you're kind of squinting at this wild space sphere and watching these different planets move. And let me double check the name of this really fast. Really? You're gonna give me an issue now of all times.
It's okay. Button is patient.
You have never seen something quite like this. So it takes you a minute to kind of put together this very much three-dimensional image to the two-dimensional maps that you looked at while at the academy, and some of which you copied down. And you realize that this is from a wild space sphere that is a good ways away from realm space. It is not one that is necessarily frequently gone to, but it is one that there's been some things work its way back to realm space. And it is Chimera space. Cimura.
C-I... What was it?
Mura.
C-I-M-U-R-A. Button has something to obsess over until the shopkeeper comes down. They are preoccupied.
And as you are kind of obsessing over that, Liliana, there's not any plants as far as you can tell. However, there are several glowing stones that just thrum with magic in a case. And as you get a little closer and kind of peer inside, you can see that kind of positioned underneath each of the rocks, each of these different, almost looks like different types of quartz. There are little circular, almost looks like lenses that have been cut thin enough that you can actually see through the crystal, and housed in various kind of decorative rims. And as you're kind of looking at them and examining this case, you see in the corner a very simple plaque that reads "Spell lenses, prototypes." And it's not something you have ever heard of before.
Ooh.
As you find that, flip through this. Booker, you're still up examining this little ship, but something catches your eye kind of subconsciously, and you look past it down at a shelf that's lower, and you see a couple of books lined up. And let me double check what you can read. Make sure I'm remembered this correctly. Keep I'm closing the wrong things. There we go. You see a book where the title is in a language that you have not seen in quite some time now. Deep speech.
Oh, that does this does spark curiosity in the booker.
And as you kind of look at it, and it takes you a minute to kind of remember the translation. And you kind of peer at it and pick up this book, and it is a heavy, thick tome that seems old. You can't tell how old. It's not ancient, but it is old. You can smell that old paper scent immediately waft open as you kind of open the front cover to look at the first page. And the title in it, though you're still kind of trying to translate the nuances of the subtitle, has very simply a discussion of the elders.
A discussion of the elders.
And
Booker is gonna absolutely start poking through this book.
okay. So if you're wanting to try and skim it, I'm going to run this because deep speech is a little bit rarer. He does know it, so he can work through it. Give me 2 Arcana checks at advantage.
Hey! Let me do.
And as Booker starts to skim through this book, Trixie, you're kind of on the other side of this shop, poking around, and Trixie is still, correct me if I'm wrong, interested in stories and stuff, right?
Yeah.
You kind of start poking around. There's some maps, not anything like you're interested, but like that's very much Button's thing. And you keep poking around, and then you find a little box that you kind of pick up and look at, and written across the top, kind of engraved in it, you see a very in a very kind of spidery script, tales of those that rule. And you open it and you see a lot of small, like little almost 4 or 5 inch by 4 or 5 inch books. And each one of them has written across it different names of different gods and goddesses, or different things that you vaguely remember as important historical events or mythological events. And there's about a dozen of them in this little box.
May I look through one of them?
Roll me a d12. You kind of pick up one and start to flip through it. You find that it is a creation story that you've heard little bits and pieces of and kind of have this image of. but it's told in a way that you've not ever really heard before. Less of this mythological tale and more of a tale of somebody that witnessed it. Witnessing a creator god that is so old there is no more name, beginning to create the other gods and goddesses by taking from themselves. But for everything that they take from themselves, there's a hole left, a void left, that calls out for that peace to return. And though it does not continue past it, the way that it is worded immediately kind of pricks something in the back of your mind. Roll me either a history or a religion check.
My app closed, sorry. What is it? Oh, they're really bad.
You gotta believe.
Told you.
The kind of looking at this book and like reading through the last couple of pages once or twice, there's something that prickles in the back of your mind about the wording of it, that it doesn't seem like the story is done. It seems more like almost a prelude, an opening chapter. And you just get this little thing, like, that void is personified in a way that you wouldn't expect in this little story. And as you're kind of mulling that over, Booker, you're starting to try and work through this book a little bit and kind of flipping towards in kind of table of contents type section that lists the following chapters. And you start to piece the language together and you start seeing names that you've only seen in research. And there's a thing that comes drifting out from the back of your mind, something you've only heard of once or twice in moments where you weren't sure you were even supposed to overhear, of something called the Elder Evils.
Elder Evils.
And you're pretty sure that these names that you are seeing as the title of these various chapters are among the Elder Evils, or related to them in some way. Right about that time is when you finally hear this like thump 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 of like footfall cane on wood, as a kind of hunched over half-elf arrives at the landing directly above and closest to you. And though he is very distinctly a half-elf, he is bent with age, hair white, wrinkles on his face, in kind of out of the corner of out of the corner of his mouth is hanging this pipe that is emitting just various colors of smoke. And he kind of looks over all of you, kind of down this crooked, hawk-like nose, and leans a little over the top of the railing to look immediately, like, directly down where Liliana is at the counter. Oh, and what can I do for you?
Sorry, that's not a chaos check. That's a is button too starstruck to speak check. Just
I
want
was
to clarify.
I was really expecting Button to be like, "We'll take the shop."
We'll take your entire stock.
Just look
Can
up
we
at them.
afford
Sold.
any of it? No.
Well, you forget Booker got a very large... Well, yeah, you were there for that. Booker had a very large sum of money.
That's true. Oh, fuck. My character sheet. I accidentally closed it. Button looks up, holding the astrolab in their hands. Probably like what? Turns. It says, "Hello. My name is Button. I would like to ask to take a look at maps you have available."
And there's just this, like, furrowing of brows, and these already kind of thick, heavy brows just shadow his eyes a little bit more. And then he just kind of looks left and then looks right, and then just gestures broadly to the shop.
Oh, that's permission. Button's gonna go diving in for maps. Button was being good, just like, here's the thing on the floor that's like right in the end, right near the place you're supposed to stand. It's perfectly fine to, like, just pick up the things that we're supposed to look at. Gesture to just look around. Oh, it's free real estate.
So
And Button was never seen from again.
you quickly
Button
realize,
is lost.
though there is other, like, kind of shelves here and there with those astrolabs, that pretty much every star chart that is kept in this, in the shop itself, is in scroll form, either as a scroll by itself or kept tucked inside of boxes. But every single one of them are scrolls and not books or your, like, fold out maps or anything.
This is perfect.
And every single one that you roll out has some sort of enchantment on it that seems to be, at the very least, mapping known movements. There's a couple that you reach that are, like, only, like, half done, don't seem to be super explored, and the planets just kind of go about 3 inches across the page and then jump back to where they started and go another 3 inches. Others that are, like, you pick up one of realm space and you can see all of the planets and the, like, asteroid belts moving slowly across the map in this two-dimensional space, as if looking at how they would be actually moving in the galaxy. As Button goes diving for maps, Elmander just kind of, like, watches for a second, and then his eyes shift towards the rest of you.
I have a question. What are these prototype spell lenses?
And as you ask that, let me pull that up really fast. Yes, here it is. As you ask that question, Elmander just kind of, you see a little smirk as he kind of bites on his pipe and leans both arms, kind of propping himself up on the railing. Those are wrong voice. Those are something I've been toying with here and there. Get a little bit of enchanted stone from various things, add a little bit of extra magic to it, and then cast a spell through it and it changes what comes out of the spell. Sometimes it turns fire into ice, sometimes it changes creation into destruction. Just depends.
Oh, I would love how much are they? I'd love to try one out for you, since they are prototypes.
He starts, kind of pushes himself off of the railing, picks up the cane again that was leaned against the railing, starts around the last set of stairs. With this very clear, you realize instantly why it took him so long, of his puts the cane next step down, 1 foot then the other, and then the next step down, of this very careful movement of not running up and down these stairs. And let me see here.
Please be nice to the old man, Liliana.
When
He's
am I ever
walked
not
so
nice?
far.
I am always nice. Hey, that guy was trying to rip me up, okay? I'm not nice to con men.
The Elmander finally gets to the bottom floor and kind of stretches his back, and you all hear this audible crackle going down his spine before he starts heading over to the case. Depends on what you can do. What type of magic are you good at, dear?
I am good at evocation and conjuration and other things that I don't know because I didn't put down all the schools of my thing on my Roll20, but I have sorcerer skills and I have druid skills as well.
Let me look through this. He just kind of... Hold on, let me read this before I say something and make a mistake on this particular item. He kind of looks at you for a second and nods, and then unlocks this case with a set of keys hanging off of his belt and pulls out 3 different lenses and kind of lays them out in front of you. One is shining bright red, one is a deep, deep blue, and one looks almost shockingly yellow. Well, these I have a little bit of experience with. Cast something through them, it changes what the end result is aligned with. So you cast something through this one, and he picks up the red one. Whatever comes out ends up being fire. And this one's water, and this one's electricity, as far as I can tell. Above table, what this does is you cast through it and it shifts the paradigm of the damage output. It has to be a damage dealing spell. Cast it through the fire paradigm, it becomes fire damage. Cast it through the water paradigm, it becomes bludgeoning damage. And cast it through the storm paradigm and becomes lightning damage.
How much for the
That's
water
pretty
one?
fucking cool.
How much for the what?
like the water one.
He looks at it. Base price. I usually charge around $350 for these.
How much would you take for a wand of Sculpey?
You can wait until we know what the entire total is for everybody's shit that they're trying to buy and see if you can cut a deal.
Okay. Looks to the wand I just bought, looks to the stuff.
And what were the lenses he had?
The 3 that he pulled out were fire for fire damage, water for bludgeoning damage, and storm for lightning damage. There are noticeably more lenses in there, but those were the only 3 that he pulled out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
I
your
will
hint
let the
hint
others
that
continue with their
these other lenses, if you want to go asking after them, you can, but they're going to be much more expensive.
Yeah, start with the base. I'll let the others finish. I'm gonna disappear around a corner for a moment. I have to use the little plants room. I'll be right back.
Booker will take a step up, and he has been lost in this book, like flipping through pages, skimming them, and backpedaling, and looking through more of them. He'll like kind of shake himself out of it for a second, and then take a step over and say, sorry, do you mind, how much is this book here?
And you kind of hold it up, and Elmander like looks at the cover, and you see first his brows go up in surprise, and then furrow in concern, and just kind of drifts from the book to Booker's face. Oh, that's an interesting one you found.
Booker like opens his mouth to say a comment, but just doesn't think of anything and just closes his mouth and lets the man continue. Sorry.
He just kind of reaches up and shifts or pulls the pipe out of his mouth and lets out just this plume of purple and green smoke that kind of obscures his face for a moment before it disappears, and he puts the pipe back into the corner of his mouth. That's gonna be one of the only copies that we have of that. And indeed, unlike some other, there is printing press stuff in this, or in D&D, in this version of D&D at least. But this was noticeably handwritten. Not scrawled like a journal necessarily, so you're pretty sure somebody was copying, but it is handwritten.
Whew.
And he just kind of tilts his head one way and then the other. It's about for how rare that knowledge is and the amount of time it took our apprentice to make it. Oh, I'd say 100 is a fair price.
Booker looks at it and turns it over in his hands and just nods to himself. I'm gonna keep looking around, but I think I'm gonna get this.
100 for the book.
Mm-hmm.
350 for the lens.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you said 300 for the lens.
Did I? It's 300 or 350. I forget which one.
Yeah, usually 300 something, and around 300 is what I think you said, and then the book was 100.
Mm-hmm.
And then however much Button finds.
Yeah. But you are finding all the maps, all the maps that you could want. You got to tell me more specifically what you want.
Button has a new life goal, and that is to become Elmander one day.
Please make me your apprentice.
Button sees this and is like, I could stay here forever. If I ever retire, this is what I want to do. As much as Button would like, I mean, Button's probably, Button knows they have a mission. So, probably looking for maps to see if they go into other spheres.
Oh, there's maps of a whole bunch of different spheres.
Well, fucking goes up to Trixie. Can you narrow it down at all?
Uh-huh. What are we narrowing down? Sorry, I was reading.
Oh.
Give us a sign, Saloon.
Saloon, what fucking wild sphere is it?
Cast guiding hand.
There was something very specific that Saloon said that I guess all of you missed.
Hold on, I got
no.
every word she said.
Let's look at the notes.
Someplace far out of reach of any moon. All right, Button's gonna look for a
There's
map with
something
no moons.
else even more specific than that.
What fucking?
You could
where
always
is it?
tell us
Liam?
what we're missing, Z, because we're apparently idiots.
Hey, don't let me in with all you all. I'm not an idiot. I'm just not listening.
So you have the answer then?
I'm rude. No, I'm not dumb. I'm mean.
About
Deep
being destroyed or eaten from within?
Yes.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
One that's slowly being eaten from the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so is there a bad energy detector?
I'd like
Can I
to
do
look
that?
for a map that fits this description to the best of Button's ability.
Yeah, so
Is
let's find a
there-
map of a planet being eaten from the inside, please. Do you have one of those?
Or a map, like a sphere with a planet slowly being destroyed or is damaged, and with no moons.
Roll me a Arcana or a Nature. At
My eye
advantage.
roll. Okay.
Both intelligence based, motherfucker. You know what? For flavor, I guess nature. They're the same.
There you go.
Oh shit!
Hey.
Hey.
Good work, Button.
Button is on a mission.
Go ahead, roll again and see if you get that natural 20.
Oh, was that advantage?
Yeah.
Oh shit, I didn't hear that. Sorry. Where the fuck? Not athletics, I wish. I'm better at athletics. Nope.
So you start to like go through those with the I assume Trixie sat that night at the inn and gave you a little bit more of a like exactly what's happened with Saloon.
Yeah.
Interrogation time.
You start looking. You see a couple of maps at first that seem to have some destruction going on, planets that are very clearly have been broken in some form or fashion or smashed into each other. But then one comes across that you immediately kind of pause. And it's a wild space sphere where there is no sun, there is only a black hole in the middle. With all of the planets slowly circling closer and closer to it. And you see no moons. Only these planets edging closer and closer to this black hole. It is marked as doom space.
Yo, that's fucking metal.
Button sees this, is just like, I don't like that name. They're gonna keep looking because they don't want that to be the place, but they'll keep that. It's like
Is fucking metal.
it's like, I don't want to go to a place called Doom Space, but this is probably the place. But I'm gonna keep looking just in case there's
It
another.
has Doom
Doom
written on the
space.
title. That's where we're going.
And also,
Hell
it
yeah.
goes back towards Lily and seeing her patron have a black hole in his eye. Hint, hint. I dropped a lot of.
In
little
what universe am I
Hey.
gonna take that as a hintsy?
Yeah, I know this is the thing. However, Button is hopeful that maybe there's another space with no moons and planets slowly getting destroyed.
So
You want there to
Is
be another
Button-
one?
is Button like openly holding this out and like looking at it and then setting it to the side very blatantly like nope?
Puts it under their
They
arm.
probably- They don't set it to the side, but they just like, you know that thing where you're shopping and you find what you want, but you're like, this isn't the brand I want. I'll hold on to this. Let me
Mhm.
look and see. Just like tucks it under their arm. But like all the maps they've gone through, they've like placed it back where they found it and opened up another one, put it back where they found it. They look at this one, they pause. They look at it again. They look at the name at the top, look back down at the map, slowly roll it back up, tuck it under their arm, looks back at the group, looks back at the map shelves, pulls out another map to look at, keeping the Doom Space map tucked under their arm, but they're just like, maybe one better.
You never know. You never know. There could be another place that fits these qualifications.
You never know. We don't want to go to the wrong one.
Well, Booker is. I don't want to be too metagamey with it, but Booker is.
Oh,
Prob-
you can go ahead. Button's body language is very obvious.
Button,
Button
doesn't-
has 9 charisma.
Button has 9 charisma and has not fully learned how to lie convincingly.
No, they haven't. Exactly what I described is what happens. And they just tuck it back, slowly turn back to the shelf, pulls out another one, slowly.
It's just a little slower
Yeah.
after finding it. It's like it's almost as if it's just a formality.
Yep. And they're just thinking, please, 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 as they pull out the next map.
Booker
Getting
Well,
more
like-
disheartened.
Booker will walk over and like bend down at the waist and kind of like looking over Button's shoulder a little bit, and then looking at the obviously tucked under Button's arm scroll, and just tap Button on the shoulder and be like, what was in that one?
Button is going to turn and look directly at Booker. Straight up. This is a map.
Can I see it? Holding out his hand.
No.
What? Like blinks, actually surprised, but Button said no. Like what? No? What? What do you mean no?
Button's gonna hold out a hand. This is an investigation. Let me finish my investigation, and I shall show you what I have found.
Booker turns around and looks at Trixie and just goes, like, points at Trixie, hooks a thumb at Button, like, just passively signaling, like, you do it. She won't say no to you.
Trixie looking at the book she was reading. glances over at, like, kind of hears the commotion, glances over, sees Booker, and is like, sighs.
Thumbs up
walks
from
over.
Micken in a corner. You got this.
I imagine Micken's also living his best life in this place.
Found a big book.
Yeah.
Sitting cross-legged on the floor in the corner, out of the way.
Hey, Button. Find anything interesting?
Everything in this place is very interesting. There are lots of maps.
Seems like you found a really good one.
All of these are very good.
Okay, but you have one under your arm. You must really like that one.
No,
No? Well, why not? You're holding on to it.
this is to compare to other maps. My investigation is not over.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Can I look at it? Maybe I can
No.
help you find what you're looking for. Okay.
Trixie,
Yes.
I believe Booker would like your assistance.
Alright, I got this. I got this. I'm coming in strong. Because Lily left for a moment to like go get her water or something like that. And she's gonna cast Serene Visage on herself.
Oh my god. I will say, guys, Button is not going to hide the map for very long. They just want to check the others first.
Oh, well, it's mostly for the shopkeeper, but this just
Okay.
helps with you too.
I don't know
It's
what-
concentration for an hour, and it gives me +5 to deception and to persuasion checks.
When Button said that to Trixie, she looks at Booker, shrugs, in like a, I tried.
Okay.
Goes back to what she was doing.
Hello, I am back with my wallet. Did I miss anything?
Booker's like one hand on his face and one hand on his hip, just like, oh.
Well, what's happened, Booker?
Booker just like looks at Liana, opens his mouth, and then just, and he's gonna walk over, like, creep up behind Button, and just try to swipe the map real fast.
You fucker.
I was gonna
Sleight-
mage hand it.
Sleight of hand. versus
He's just gonna
perception.
fucking snatch it.
Can I use deception to keep her busy?
Unfortunately, not at the moment, because how that's played out.
Ah,
You fool.
Button dodges.
Button, could you please show me what's on that map? Everybody's getting in a tussle about it.
I do not understand why everyone is impatient. I would like to investigate more maps to make sure this is the correct one.
Now,
Well-
Button, why would you intentionally make your people anxious? They simply want to look at the scroll, no?
I am not making anyone anxious. Intentionally, I am simply doing my due diligence to ensure this is the correct map.
How about you help us look at it to confirm that? Why are you trying to hide from us?
Button just tilts their head. I am investigating which map is correct, based on the description I was given. Once I
You
am
know-
sure this is correct, I will know.
You know
But
that
until
4 heads
then-
are better than 1, no? Or do you not think we're smart enough?
There's just this like little chime from Micken in his corner. They're not wrong, Button. And roll me a persuasion.
Ugh.
who's rolling persuasion?
Lily.
apparently is trying to persuade Button to not take 5 extra minutes to look at more maps.
No. Tell us now.
Persuasion
I assumed that
versus
there was like I assumed that there was a
16.
fucking
16.
massive amount of
It's a
maps.
nat
Yeah,
one.
there's
God
no
damn
way
it.
that you can go through every map in this building.
Yeah, not every map, but just to make Button feel better.
Um,
I should have used my pass.
Look.
16 versus insight button.
Passive insight or roll insight?
Roll insight because you are being trying to be persuaded.
Can't believe I rolled a nat one.
Nope.
Bullshit, man.
See through all your fucking
Anything
bullshit.
else I would have been fine, but a nat one.
Guys, like, let's just let Button be. They'll show us when they want to show us, okay?
I mean, apparently she thinks we're all idiots. Go over to the guy. Guy with the humps.
Booker just like impatiently will put his hands on his hips and just tap his foot and stare at the back of Button's head.
Button does not.
But he will wait.
Button is going to check maybe 5 more maps, clear the section that they were looking at before they show the group.
You find a 2D map of the same wild sphere that you found in that initial astrolab that you picked up. You find 1 or 2 various details of realm space, and you find another one that is just no place you will recognize, really. Nothing really rings a bell to you. But there is not any others that seem to check all of the boxes in quite the way that this one does.
Okay. Next up is, but this place isn't really organized, right?
Not particularly. If you have specific questions, you can ask Outlander, and he might be able to point you in the right direction.
Okay.
But no, it's not organized any way that you can see.
Okay. Well, Button has a question for Elmander whenever they get a chance.
Elmander's just kind of found his stool and is just watching this chaos unfold, just puffing on his pipe. You can all very clearly tell that he has comments, but he is not making them.
Oh. After ensuring that, like, this is the only place that checks the boxes, Button is going to straighten up and hold out the map they have tucked under their arm and turn to Elmander and just say loud enough for everyone to hear, because everyone's so fucking curious. Hello. Do you have any other maps on Doomspace?
You say Doomspace, and there is this, again, kind of brows raise in surprise for Elmander, and there's just this long enough pause where you just hear very quietly from the corner, Micken, Doomspace?
Button is just like, that's right, Micken, you see why I didn't want to share the name without making sure? That's their internal monologue, though.
And Elmander will reach out and kind of pluck the scroll from Button's hands and unfurl it to look at it. I got 1 or 2 more out there. On the 3rd level, I think, but ain't none of them really gonna tell you everything going on there. Not a sphere most people want to bother with.
Is this the most detailed and accurate one you have?
Not most detailed, but most recent. Pretty sure there's at least one planet on the other one closest to this that ain't there no more.
Turn to the group. Do we care more about detail or accuracy?
Oh shit. Probably accuracy. But couldn't hurt to have both if there's a way to get both maps. Or both ends of the spectrum.
Nod. How much are the maps? Those two specifically.
And he kind of tilts his head one way and then the other. You're looking for about 400 apiece. Both still with the Elmander guarantee, though. Which you do know that this is the only place in any of the spheres that you have ever heard of that both Elmander is very well known for the quality of his maps, and that you can bring the maps that he sells to you back to him at any time with any new information, and he will fully update it for free.
Nod. Button's going to hold onto the map and back away. Let Elmander prepare for whatever the fuck Liliana's about to do to him.
Well, Booker scratches his chin and looks at the maps and then looks at Button and Liliana and then all the way back to Trixie, and he'll say like, well, if y'all found something that you're fancying, maybe we could get like a package deal going, something here. We're fitting to buy a lot of goodies.
Yeah, and by the way, how much would this be? And is there a continuation, another collection? Stood holding up the box.
He looks towards the box, and he kind of... There's a little shake to his head. Oh, that's just about the only one we have that. Stories from various travelers and some questionable sources, but interesting all the same. Box altogether is 40.
Can't hear
Did
you,
I hear
Piper.
40?
Yeah, 40.
40 gold for everything?
For the box that she has full of the stories.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
little stories. I picked out what I wanted. Trixie will bring it to the group.
Button has the map as the thing that they would like to get.
Are you trying to get the other one on top of it?
Ah, that's a lot of money.
Oh, well, Booker's got a lot of money, too.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's probably beneficial to buy both. That's just me. I don't think we should skimp on this particular purchase, but
Okay.
I'm open to arguments.
Well, can't we get one of them updated, though, technically? Like, we can look at the one that's quote-unquote accurate, or not accurate, that has the most detail, and then just get it updated, right?
True, but we'd have to go out there and come back.
Because we don't... Essentially what has happened is that the one that Button has does not have as much detail, but it is more recent. The other one because again everything is circling towards this black hole, has more
It
details.
moves.
But things have moved, so there's things on there that you don't necessarily know that they're still there or still there in the same condition.
Oh, okay, I understand now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense.
I thought it was more of like he has a, how do I put it, like a repertoire kind of thing of things, and then he refers to that to update whoever comes in.
No, he's only able to update from new information that is given to him.
Gotcha.
So like if you buy the older map that has more details on it, go out and come back, he can like remove planets and shift things around. But because none of you know what Doom Space looks like right now, you can technically say, hey, can you add the stuff from the other map onto this one? And he'll charge you a little bit for that, but it'll be like, you don't know if it's useful either. If you're wanting to have a finalized map.
So having both to reference, and then if we ever have to come back, get that fully up. That is a lot of gold, though.
Booker's got the money. He'll buy both of them.
This bitch has more gold than I've ever seen somebody get in a D&D game before.
How much does he have?
Do you want a hard number?
Yeah. I want to not feel guilty.
Booker has 2,825 gold.
Jesus Christ.
How did you get that much?
The
I sold the fucking briefcase. The briefcase of abnormalities was worth like 3,500 or something.
Jesus Christ.
That's why I've been trying to spend it on y'all, because it's not like just my money. So buying both maps is totally fine. I will also buy the lens, the water lens.
Yeah. I have fire damage, I have lightning damage, I have ice damage. I do not have bludgeoning damage, so good spread there.
Yeah, so essentially how that would work is if you cast let's just say fireball through any of the other lenses that are not fire, it will change the fireball damage. So it applies to any spell that you can cast through there. It only changes if it's a different one. So cast fireball through a fire lens, it's just going to be fire. It's not increasing the damage or anything.
Right.
Hell yeah.
I will say, I do feel a little bad for Button, because Button didn't get to pick something out for themselves.
No.
Well, there's also all of the maps that Button found just in general that Booker will buy, but those aren't going to be mechanically beneficial. But Booker did say he was going to buy Button maps.
Fortunately, Elmander's maps are very expensive, so we can only really afford to get the plot-relevant ones.
If you want to go looking for other things, I can pull up something else for Button.
That would be nice.
Okay. Let me reference my thingy. Where did my thingy go?
Oh, also last session when you weren't here, Amy, we used the potted plant to talk to a tree, but we gave it back to you.
Okay.
We had Button ride in our pocket, and then pulled out Button, and then pulled out the potted plant, and then used it, and then put the potted plant back onto Button, and then put Button back in our pocket.
That's a once per day. Okay, I thought it was single use for a second. No,
If it was single use, we would not do that to you.
It's fine.
I have speak with plants now, so.
Hey, now definitely Buttons.
So, in kind of the skimming that you have done, and waiting for everybody else to kind of finish their looking around, you pause and kind of look at this little shelf that's about eye level to you, that's full of books rather than maps. It's the first time you've kind of honed in on the books. And you see what looks to be a journal at first. You kind of pick it up and flip it over and start looking through it. And you see kind of scrawled at the top, or scrawled throughout it. The entire thing is handwritten. You see like little notes and images throughout it, and it seems like somebody recording their findings, but also sometimes commenting and having these kind of offhand remarks. And on the very front page, written on the top, is just a greens aren't always healthy. And then essentially a little LOL to the side.
Oh my god, is Button gonna learn slang?
It is a tutorial on poison brewing
Ooh.
and
Oh,
poisonous plants.
And Button has a poisoner's kit.
Mm-hmm.
And Button is a druid, specifically a mushroom
Uh-huh.
druid, and mushrooms are notoriously poisony.
Tutorial 2, what is it?
Tutorial on poison brewing.
Poison brewing.
Mhm.
Oh, yes.
Is that an acceptable Button also finds?
It is acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Offering accepted.
Yes. How much is this?
That one will be 50 gold.
It's very funny just how damage oriented Button is. Like,
Well, see, the fun thing about poisons is there are some poisons out there that are not just damage. They're
ooh,
confusion and sleeping and all of that fun stuff.
all of the fun stuff. It's all different fungi.
Button is a pretty fun guy.
Oh,
Slash
Yeah.
them slash girl.
But I know we want to RP this a little bit more, but it is getting late for Z, so
Oh shit.
let's wrap up the what you buying? Are we buying
Yes.
everything?
So we're buying a bunch of extra maps for Button, some naturey fun frilly things for Lily, the box of goodies for Trixie, the book of ancient evils for Booker, the 2 maps of Doom Space,
Mhm.
and the poison kit for Button.
And the shard.
Oh yes, and the water shard lens, water lens.
Okay. So I will say all together, all of the extra stuff, going ahead and saying that Lily can pick up some books on the planting equipment and stuff.
Oh, yes,
Naturey books. I will say that all together base amount would be around 1350 for everything all together. I know you did this very specifically, Piper, so I'm not going to deprive you of your spell. Roll me a persuasion check.
Surely I won't get a natural one the second time in a row.
I will laugh if you do.
Oh,
27.
27.
hey,
So with that, you kind of talk him round and round. Elmander is very old and has been doing this for a very long time. So he is very accustomed to this bullshit. But you are buying quite a few things at once. And he lets you talk him down to about 1210 altogether.
That's not bad. That's 140 saved.
I am totally fine with that.
Yeah.
1210. That is a great discount. Booker will happily fork over 12 platinum and 10 gold. And that'll knock me down to 1615.
And I need all of you to very specifically what I am telling you, put these in your individual character channels so that I can remember to handle this shit later. Of Booker getting the Elder Evils book. Lily getting getting the water lens. Trixie, you're getting the book of God and Goddess stories. That's what I need you to put in your thing.
Okay.
And then the potion brewing. And I'll go ahead and say you pick up like 1 or 2 basic ass, like simple maps button.
Ooh.
So you say that you get the potion brewing book and then like 2 basic ass maps. And is there any last things that want to be said at Elemender's?
Cheers. Appreciate it, lad. Keep it real. Pat him on the shoulder. Walk out.
You just get that, like, you're not quite sure, because it's kind of hard to read this man's face, whether it's a dirty look or an amused look, or somewhere in between.
Perfect. Confusion is exactly the vibe. Booker's like, alright, I did my part. Let's get the fuck out of here, guys.
Button holding scrolls of maps and a book, happily trotting along.
I'm noting the Book of Elder Evils in my inventory as well as the maps.
A couple of you will be getting, well, actually all of you will be getting little bits and pieces of lore or mechanics between now and next time.
Yes.
And I will say specifically for Trixie and Booker, the books that you have received have information in them that could potentially be useful to you in the future. So make sure that you keep it in the back of your mind, keep it in your inventory, wherever that you have those books. For both of you, because it is means of giving something beyond mechanical information, it's giving lore information. I will institute something of, like, you know, you can spend a couple hours reading or translating in Booker's case during a long rest. And I'll have you guys kind of roll to figure out if you can piece together things or what you find and all that type of stuff. So you guys have some downtime mechanics from these books that you guys will be using.
Hell yeah. More downtime stuff? Good. Winnie, no! Winnie, come back!
Winnie.
He came to visit me, and then he, like, sniffed my fingers and ran away.